What if I told you that everything you possess today, your proud human civilization, and even the happiness you tirelessly pursue each day is likely built upon a colossal, collectively orchestrated lie? What if the very progress you believe in is nothing more than another form of trap, designed to ensnare you, making escape almost impossible? How would you feel? Would a chill run down your spine? Would you feel a profound unease about the world, about your very existence? We live in an era of information overload, daily swept up in a torrent of data. We work hard, study hard, and strive to keep pace with the times. Bombarded by consumerist ideals and driven by societal definitions of success, we exhaust ourselves, yet often feel a deep sense of confusion and emptiness. We've been molded into cogs that fit societal expectations, but rarely do we pause to truly examine. Where do these truths we believe in actually come from? Are they truly undeniable facts? Is the civilization we enjoy today really a straight, upward path of progress? And what intricate connections exist between your personal anxieties, confusions, and struggles, and the grand narrative of human history? Do you long to see the underlying logic of the world and take control of your own life's direction? But rest assured, in the next 15 minutes, I will lead you on an unprecedented intellectual adventure. Together, we will dissect a powerful cognitive tool that will utterly revolutionize your deeply ingrained views on humanity, history, and even your own existence. You'll gain immense cognitive uplift in an instant, as if struck by lightning, a sudden awakening, a profound realization. More importantly, I will provide you with a clear, actionable thinking framework, allowing you to immediately apply these groundbreaking insights to your daily life, helping you make wiser decisions and live a clearer, more empowered life. And this powerful, game-changing tool is hidden within a classic work hailed by billions of readers worldwide as the most disruptive book of the 21st century, the Bible for Human Cognitive Upgrade, and a truly landmark masterpiece, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. Its author, Yuval Noah Harari, a groundbreaking Israeli historian and thinker, has profoundly shaken the minds of hundreds of millions globally with his grand and profound narrative perspective, unique and incisive insights, and thought-provoking analysis. With an almost godlike pen, he condenses humanity's 70,000-year evolutionary history into a few hundred pages, yet provides us with an unprecedented key to understanding the present world and foreseeing the future. All right, ready? Take a deep breath, open your mind. We will use 3 disruptive cognitive modules to transport you through 70 millennia of history, striking at the core of human civilization, revealing where we truly come from and where we are heading. Do you know why we sapiens, modern humans like you and me, managed to rise above millions of other species on Earth, ultimately replacing our stronger, more adaptable relatives like Neanderthals, and even dominating the planet, becoming the apex predator? It wasn't thanks to sharper claws, stronger muscles, or larger physiques. What we possess is a seemingly fragile, intangible, invisible, yet incredibly powerful and revolutionary secret weapon, the ability to fictionalize, or as Harari puts it, the ability to create and believe in shared fictions. Harari tells us that the cognitive revolution, occurring approximately 70 to 30,000 years ago, utterly transformed the fate of sapiens. At the core of this revolution was our unique and incredibly flexible language ability. But the magic of this language wasn't merely its capacity to precisely describe real-world objects like lions, berries, rivers, or mountains. Its most crucial, most revolutionary function was its ability to create things that objectively do not exist. For example, gods, ghosts, tribal totems, ancient ancestors, nations, countries, laws, human rights, money, corporations, brands, and even heaven and hell. These are all shared fictions, or what you might understand as collectively imagined realities. They are not stones, not flowing water. You cannot touch or perceive them. Yet, through language, we humans can implant these fictional stories into everyone's minds, making people believe them and willing to cooperate for these shared fictions, even sacrifice their lives. Imagine when your ancestors still lived on the ancient African savannas. The size of a sapiens tribe was typically limited to about 150 individuals. This is because, beyond that number, If there wasn't some shared belief transcending blood relations to maintain cohesion, people who didn't know or trust each other couldn't cooperate effectively. Two unknown sapiens tribes encountering each other in the wild would likely quickly devolve into a deadly conflict due to mutual distrust. But if they both shared a belief in the same tribal god or a great ancestor, or adhered to the same cosmic origin myth, even if their tribal numbers far exceeded the 150-person limit for intimate relationships, they could transcend the confines of kinship and geography. For their common faith, for the will of their imagined deity, they could set aside their guard, unite, cooperate in hunting, and even collectively resist external enemies. Now, project this logic onto our world today. Why can millions, even hundreds of millions, of strangers unite against a common enemy, build together, and even go to war for concepts like China, America, or Europe? Because nation itself is a shared fiction. You can't touch it, but we all believe it exists and are willing to sacrifice for it. Why are you willing to dedicate your most precious labor, time, and energy to a green piece of paper called the dollar, or a string of cold numbers in a bank account? Because we all collectively believe in the value of money and its represented future exchange power. A company, like Apple Incorporated, ISNT, those gleaming iPhones, nor its magnificent circular headquarters building, nor even the tens of thousands of employees working there. In a legal sense, Apple Incorporated is merely a legal entity, a virtual entity, a shared fiction that exists only in our imagination and legal statutes. But it is this fiction that drives thousands to work hard for it, and billions of consumers to shell out real money for its products. So what does this have to do with us? Why is understanding the magic of shared fictions the ultimate key to seeing through this world and even reshaping your own life? Understanding this grants you unprecedented freedom. It tells you that most of the common sense, rules, beliefs, and even your definitions of success and happiness in your life are likely collective fictions. For example, hard work always leads to success might be a fiction to encourage labor. Such and such a brand is a status symbol, is a fiction to guide consumption. Such and such a profession is superior, is a fiction to maintain social hierarchy. These are not cosmic truths, but stories collectively woven by humans for certain purposes. When you can identify these fictions, you will no longer be unconsciously driven, no longer constrained by scripts set by others or by society. Furthermore, it also shows you your potential to influence the world. If you can create new, more compelling shared fictions, you possess the power to lead, influence, and even change the world. Whether it's founding a new company, launching a disruptive product, advocating for a forward-thinking public cause, initiating a social reform movement, or even just building a cohesive team, you need to tell a story that others can believe in, that resonates with them, and that makes them willing to follow. This story is the shared fiction you construct. Steve Jobs created the Think Different fiction, elevating Apple beyond just selling computers into a lifestyle. Elon Musk painted the human colonization of Mars fiction, inspiring countless people for Tesla and SpaceX. Ultimately, this empowers you to actively choose shared fictions. When you feel lost, anxious, or frustrated, pause for a moment and ask yourself, which shared fiction am I being limited by? Is it my attachment to stability or my pursuit of perfection? Are these fictions hindering my progress? Furthermore, which shared fiction can I actively choose or create to empower myself, motivate myself, and overcome difficulties? This new story could be a vision for your future career, a definition of your family relationships, or a firm belief in your personal growth. Remember, human strength lies in our ability to transcend the constraints of reality, construct a better future in our imagination, and then, through collective effort, make it a reality. You are not passively living within fictions. You have the power to be a creator and chooser of fictions. When we talk about human progress and civilization, what often comes to mind is the rapid advancement of technology, immense material wealth, and the continuous improvement of human living standards. But Harari drops a thought-provoking bombshell here, presenting a groundbreaking argument. The agricultural revolution, which occurred about 12,000 years ago, was likely the biggest fraud in human history, the beginning of humanity falling into a progress trap? You might be shocked. Wasn't the agricultural revolution what transformed us from bloodthirsty savages into settled, civilized people? Didn't it change us from being at the mercy of nature to becoming intelligent beings who mastered production? Wasn't it because of it that villages, cities, nations, writing, and complex social structures emerged? Harari, with his incisive insight, points out, in a sense, we thought we domesticated wheat, rice, and corn, but the truth might be quite the opposite. Wheat domesticated us. Before the agricultural revolution, humans were hunter-gatherers, migrating from place to place, living off nature's bounty. Their diet was diverse, including various wild fruits, nuts, roots, and meats, providing balanced nutrition. Their working hours were relatively short, typically only 4 or 5 hours a day to obtain enough food, with the rest of the time spent socializing, resting, exploring, and thinking. They were physically robust, constantly needing to run and labor, and rarely suffered from the infectious diseases that came with settled life. They were relatively free, unburdened by fixed dwellings and property. But when humans began to cultivate grains, to care for these fragile crops, we had to give up the freedom and diversity of the hunter-gatherer era. We began to work repetitively day after day, bending over to farm under the scorching sun. Our ancestors became firmly tied to the land, bearing the enormous risks of natural disasters such as drought, pests, floods, and famine. Worse still, as food production increased, the population began to explode, but these newly added people were often malnourished and disease-ridden. Our diet became incredibly monotonous. While grains provided calories, they lacked various vitamins and minerals, leading to the spread of many diseases. Crowded settlements also made it easier for plagues to breed. We produced more food to feed more people, and these new people, in turn, needed more food and labor. This created a vicious cycle, an endless trap of progress. We were enticed by high-yield crops, but ultimately lost the freedom, health, and diversity of our ancestors. Harari concludes with a stark observation. In the long run, the agricultural revolution indeed increased humanity's overall power and numbers, allowing human civilization to flourish and become the most numerous and powerful species on Earth. However, for each individual sapiens, their quality of life, their sense of happiness likely declined. In pursuit of the grand narrative of survival, numbers, and collective power, we sacrificed individual happiness, freedom, and health. This was a grand exchange conducted in the name of progress, and the price we paid was the suffering and struggle of every individual life over tens of thousands of years. So, what does this have to do with us? Why is understanding the paradox of the agricultural revolution a wake-up call to see the root of modern anxiety and re-examine the definitions of progress and happiness? This insight, first and foremost, reveals the essence of many of our modern-day struggles. Do you often feel physically and mentally exhausted? Doesn't the progress we pursue today, much like the wheat of the past, entice us to invest more and more time, energy, and even our lives? We endure immense pressure from 996 or even 007 work schedules for higher salaries, sacrificing health, family, and personal time. We shoulder decades of heavy mortgage debt for larger homes, suffering daily commutes and loan payments to ensure our children don't fall behind. We enroll them in various tutoring classes, depriving them of their childhood and the right to freely explore. Aren't we like the farmers of old, lured by high-yield wheat, money, status, material possessions, so-called success, only to find ourselves firmly tied to the land of modern society, losing true freedom and joy? Is our supposed progress also devouring our individual happiness? A deeper impact is that it encourages you to redefine your own success and happiness. Stop blindly chasing what society defines as more and better. Pause and reflect. Is everything you do, your daily busyness, truly enhancing your individual happiness and freedom? Is it nourishing your life or consuming it? Don't let your life become another wheat field grown for others. Don't let yourself become a domesticated being in another sense. You can choose a more balanced, self-centric way of living. Therefore, when facing important life choices, learn to view them with a historical perspective. Whether it's a career choice, a consumption choice, or a lifestyle choice, Ask yourself, is this progress I'm pursuing meant to increase my individual happiness, freedom, and diverse experiences? Or is it merely to maintain the operation of some vast collective fiction, like GDP growth, corporate profits, social status? Am I falling into another agricultural trap in the name of progress? Possessing this ability to reflect gives you the potential to break free from the trap and live for yourself. Remember, true wisdom isn't about chasing everything defined as good, but about discerning what is truly right for you, what can genuinely make you happy. If shared fictions are the cornerstone of human civilization and the agricultural revolution revealed the paradox of our progress, then what truly propelled humanity to unprecedented heights and infinite unknowns is, without a doubt, the miraculous marriage of science and capitalism over the last 500 years. It is the combination of these two seemingly independent, powerful forces that has forged the modern world we live in today, and it is also pushing our human vessel at an unprecedented speed towards a future brimming with infinite possibilities, yet also fraught with unknown risks. Harari argues that the essence of the scientific revolution is not merely the discovery of new knowledge, but a completely new way of thinking. Humanity admitting its ignorance and actively and proactively exploring unknown territories. Before the scientific revolution, people believed that all important knowledge had already been revealed by deities or ancient sages. But the advent of science led humans to admit we don't know and establish a rigorous system of observation, experimentation, and verification, continuously correcting and expanding the boundaries of knowledge. And the essence of capitalism is trust and investment in the future. It no longer merely focuses on accumulating wealth in the present, but through mechanisms like loans, investments, and stocks, it materializes future hopes and possibilities into present-day capital, which is then invested in new production and exploration, hoping for greater returns. This firm belief that the future will be better, and the willingness to commit present resources for it, was unprecedented. When these two forces, insatiably curious science and risk-taking, future investing capital combine, they create an exponentially powerful engine. Scientific research requires enormous financial investment from building laboratories to funding expeditions. It needs a continuous flow of capital. Capital, in turn, invests in scientific research, hoping to discover new technologies, new resources, and new markets, thereby earning huge profits. This forms a perfect positive feedback loop. Scientific discovery drives technological progress. Technological progress leads to increased productivity and new markets. New markets bring more profits, and more profits can then be reinvested in new scientific research. Consider the Dutch East India Company in the 17th century, a groundbreaking innovation at the time. It wasn't solely funded by a king or a family instead. It raised capital by issuing shares to ordinary people, pooling funds from thousands of small investors to finance long-distance expeditions and colonial trade. These investors didn't know each other, they had never even seen the distant spices and silks, but they all believed the company would be profitable in the future and were willing to take that risk. This trust, based on future profits, supported massive capital investment and immense risk, ultimately transforming global trade patterns and ushering in the age of discovery. Subsequent industrial revolutions, information revolutions, and biotech revolutions were all products of this marriage between science and capital. Only then could we build airplanes, rockets, develop vaccines, create the internet, and even begin to touch upon the mysteries of genetic editing and artificial intelligence. This faith in the future has made the entire world feel like a runaway train, driven by science and accelerated by capital, constantly surging forward into the unknown. So, what does this have to do with us? Why is understanding the combination of science and capital the ultimate guide to seeing how the modern world operates, and how you, as an individual, can face future challenges? First, we need to recognize that it explains why growth and innovation are core values of modern society, and the deeper reason behind our daily anxieties. In this world driven by science and capital, stagnation means regression. So we are taught to constantly learn, constantly improve, constantly consume, because this is precisely the fuel this enormous system needs to operate. Personal value is often equated with productivity and consumption power. Do you also feel the deep fear of being left behind by the times if you stop progressing? This fear stems precisely from the never-ending science capital growth cycle we are in. Furthermore, it forces us to reflect deeply. Where is this runaway train taking us? Is the relentless pursuit of growth depleting Earth's resources and destroying ecological balance at an alarming rate? Is the rapid advancement of technology challenging human ethical boundaries, even subverting our definition of human? The rise of artificial intelligence, the widespread availability of gene editing technology, and the erosion of privacy by big data all compel us to ask, are we creating a future we cannot fully control? Is our progress coming at the cost of humanity? Most importantly, it empowers you to become a conscious, responsible future shaper. You are not a passive passenger being swept along on this train, nor are you unconscious fuel. You are a part of this vehicle, and every choice you make, whether it's the brand you support, the stock you invest in, your attitude toward new technologies, your consumption habits, or even your chosen lifestyle unseen, casts a vote. Each choice determines the direction of human civilization and shapes your future and that of your descendants. When you feel excited or fearful about a certain tech product, when you face the immense allure of consumerism, remember, you need to look beyond the immediate surface. Use the lens Harari has given you to examine the scientific logic and capital drive behind it, and to consider its profound impact on human society and individual destiny. Become a conscious, aware sapiens, not a zombie blindly swept along. Your choices are crucial. All right, my friends, we have journeyed through 70,000 years of human history, from Sapiens' initial fictions to the cruel trap of the agricultural revolution, and finally to the immense torrent of science and capitalism. Don't you feel as if you've been struck by some unprecedented, powerful force, as if a profound realization has dawned upon you, giving you a deeper understanding of this world? You are no longer an observer, but an active participant and eyewitness to this grand history. So, from today onwards, please internalize the wisdom of Sapiens and put it into immediate action. Remember and practice these 3 things. They will fundamentally change your view of the world and life. First, bravely question your shared fictions. Stop blindly following, start reflecting. Ask yourself, who told me these beliefs, common sense, and rules that I deeply believe in today? Whose interests do they serve? Are they true facts or stories collectively woven by the society or group I belong to for some purpose? When you can identify and question these fictions, you gain intellectual freedom and the ability to choose and construct your own stronger, more empowering stories. Your story shapes your life. Second, clearly redefine your progress and happiness. Stop blindly chasing what society defines as higher, faster, stronger. Pause, take a deep breath, and have a conversation with your inner self. Ask, are my daily efforts and busyness, these successes I pursue, truly increasing my individual happiness, freedom, and the breadth and depth of my life? Am I falling into another agricultural trap, sacrificing true health, time, relationships, and inner peace for superficial progress? Remember, your life should not be a slave to any crop. You are the master of your own life. Third, become a conscious future shaper. Deeply understand the immense forces of science and capitalism that drive humanity forward, as well as the infinite opportunities and potential risks they bring. You are not a bystander to history. Every choice you make, who you vote for, what products you buy, what technologies you support, how you spend your time and money, invisibly casts a vote. Each choice determines the direction of human civilization and shapes your future and that of your descendants. Be a conscious, aware sapiens. Actively participate in thinking about and building the future, rather than being passively swept along. Value amplification and emotional resonance. Ultimately, Sapiens teaches us far more than just dry historical knowledge. It offers a profound ability to cut through the fog and get straight to the essence. It makes us realize that we are us, and we became the masters of the earth, not just because of our genes, but because of the stories we believe. This book, seemingly about human history, is actually guiding us on how to live consciously in the present and actively shape a better, more humane future. It empowers us to re-examine our life's trajectory, choose the person you truly want to be, and create the world you truly want to live in. This is both liberation and responsibility. After watching this in-depth interpretation, which disruptive insight from Sapiens had the biggest impact on you, making you feel struck, and which shared fiction that you once deeply believed are you planning to challenge starting today? Share your stories, your thoughts, and your action plans in the comments section. I eagerly await a deeper conversation with you. If you also aspire to continuously elevate your cognitive dimension, see through the underlying logic of this complex world, and master your own destiny, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell icon next to it. That way, you won't miss any in-depth content that can change your thinking and empower your life. See you in the next video.